We're live.
Are we?
Yeah.
No, wait, it's cooking.
No, it's live. I can see it.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Stephen Dossou here. Inspirational speaker, author, transformational coach, and creator of Ignited Transformation. It is my pleasure and honor, after having hosted a successful online summit titled Ignited Transformation in the 7 areas of your life designed to inspire people towards action taking and to bring the very best out of them. Today, I have the pleasure and honor on Ignited Transformation TV that is being inaugurated today. It is my extreme burning honor and pleasure to have our first ever guest, Stephanie Woollard, all the way from Australia, Melbourne. Stephanie is a keynote speaker, author, social entrepreneur, and a UN award winner of responsible business, founder of 7 Women and president of JCI Melbourne board. Whoa, this woman is just full of accomplishment, right? And that's why she's here today. So I've asked Stephanie today to tune on Ignite Transformation TV so that she could share with us some key lessons about her journey. What are the things, the tricks, the astuces, the things that she has done all along the way that kept going from success to success? And most of all, what kept her humble. So again, it's my extreme honor to have Stephanie Woollard today. Hi there, Stephanie. How are you doing today?
Hi, Stephen. Good. And what an honor to be the first guest on your Ignite the Transformation TV series, because I know there'll be amazing people to follow because you're an inspiring person and you know a lot of inspiring people. So thanks for asking me to be the first person.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks to you also for making time for this, little short interview. Well, Stephanie, with no time to waste at all, I'm pretty sure the viewers currently are burning to know who is this amazing woman that Stephen has again found around the world, right? So, Stephanie, with no time to waste, please, we are dying to know who you are, where you're from, where you have been, the whole thing. We want to know you, please.
Okay, where do I start? So I suppose, I am very passionate. A lot of people that know me would know that I'm really passionate about making a difference, and I always have been since I was a young child, and that was really encouraged by my mum and dad, who have given me and my brother and sister an amazing upbringing, really drawing out that potential in us and drawing out what we were passionate about and interested in. So that allowed me to, I suppose, explore what do I want to do with my life. And I see that as a huge privilege because, back in mum and dad's day and just thinking of their upbringing, they had to work really hard. They were working class and had to work really hard to provide for their family. And I think we are very, very privileged if we are able to grow up with a roof over our head and, education paid for, that sort of thing. So I suppose I've always felt very grateful for what has been made available to me and the choice, freedom of choice of association and freedom of choice of what do I want to do with my life? How do I want to make a difference? So that's really been what has guided me. And I remember thinking at a very early age, if I'm going to be successful in life and have a fantastic life, I need to, I want to experience everything possible, have as many different experiences as possible and build my confidence and make myself constantly step outside my comfort zone to test myself. What are my boundaries and how can I develop in so many different ways that I'm like super resilient, and I can take on any challenge. So, and I suppose underpinning that was a very deep desire and a burning to make a difference, because I learnt about things like poverty in the world and that people weren't as lucky as us here in Australia. You're in Bali, but I'm actually here in Melbourne. So so that's what probably guided me on my life and took me to things, experiences where I traveled in different countries. I went on a global expedition to kind of find my independence when I was 24. I remember thinking, I want to do this to see if I can do it, travel around the world for a year to a lot of different countries and have nothing really solidly put in place. but just left it up to life or God to provide for me during that year-long travel. And it was just phenomenal. I did not feel alone once, and I just had so many incredible things happen to me in that year. It was like magical. So that's kind of, a little bit about me. And that also took me to Nepal, which is where I started my organization 7 Women, that has now made a great impact in Nepal because of the many courageous women that we work with.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephanie. I really appreciate it. I'm yet to get to your organization, right? But while we are still, trying to find out a little bit more about who you are, we're trying to peel those layers off you. I'm very curious. You use some key words right now in your presentation. You spoke about confidence, stepping out of your comfort zone, and taking on life by his horns. So I'm very curious, right? Did it just happen that you became that woman that is very confident, that wants to, take on life and consistently step out of your comfort zone? Did it just happen naturally, or you had to go through some life circumstances? Because look, the truth is that there are so many people out there that want to take, big steps in their lives, right? But they just have fear, right? They just afraid, and which is why I wrote that book titled Be Transformed. So I'm very curious, right? As a woman that has accomplished so much just at the age of 35, which I think you didn't say. Let me mention that she's only 35 years. Where does that confidence come from? That spirit of no fear, of stepping into the comfort zone and making things happen wherever you are in the world. I'm curious, please share with us, where does that come from?
Well, firstly, it's an ongoing journey. So, I wouldn't see myself as 100% confident. There's still things, I've got a huge vision going forward, and I'm just almost back to where I started with 7 Women in terms of like, can I do this? It's really big, what do I need to make this happen? So it's just a continuous choice, I think, that's made, that your vision excites you more than the fear of not doing it, or the thought of not doing it, or anything holding you back. You want to challenge that, and you want to put yourself out there and prove that you can actually do it, because I think anything is possible for anybody to achieve. It's just the mind, understanding how the mind works, and challenging the mind when it kind of tells you that that things can't be done, going, no, actually, it can be done. So I just want to kind of, that's a bit of a reality check, because I think everyone has that. And I remember in high school, I put my hand up for everything that was on offer. I was involved in anything and everything. So even things that like terrified me, like being in the swim team, I got up at 5 a.m. twice a week to train in the swim team, even though I was slow, and I knew I was slow, and even the swim teacher said to my mum, like, Stephanie seems to sit up at the end of every 25 meters to have a rest. All the girls were like swimming 2 laps at the one time, and 3 and 4 and whatever, and I used to have a rest at the end of every lap. So like it's just but I felt good after doing that, and I was even put in a race eventually, because my mum probably begged the swim teacher, please put Stephanie in a race. She's been in the swim squad for this long and she's never been in a race. So I was eventually in a race, and I was petrified of being in a swimming race. Like, that was really scary to me, but just doing it anyway, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I think you grow a lot of confidence from that. And just to make everyone feel very sorry for me, I was put in the race, and I did a false start. So I was so nervous standing up on the block, and then it was like, you're waiting for the gun to go boom, and so I leapt into the pool, and then when I came up, I was like, oh my god, where is everyone? And I'd done a false start, so I was disqualified. So but that didn't ruin my life. Life moves on, and I put myself out there. And sometimes even when you can have massive epic fails like that, you still draw a lot of courage and strength from it, because you're like, well, I did it, so I'm on a high from actually doing it, even though I never got to swim the race. But there are a lot of things like that. I had I've always loved dolphins big time, and I went to this meeting by the Dolphin Research Institute when I was in 10, and there were some dolphins who were injured in the Port Phillip Bay, in Victoria, and I thought I'd love to have a fundraiser where I can raise money to help these dolphins. So I'd never done that before. So at my school I thought I could ask all my friends to bake a cake, bring a cake, sell it out of the tug shop. So to do that I had to actually put myself on stage in front of 1,000 girls in a big town hall. First time I'd ever done a public speaking engagement. I was that nervous. I did not know whether any sound was going to come out of my mouth when I was called on stage. And I was waiting behind the curtains and I could see the presenter before me and they were about to announce, that I've got something to share with everyone. And I was absolutely petrified. So, but doing that, you develop confidence, and who would have known now? I mean, I've spoken on a lot of different stages around the world and I don't get nervous, but that was a process, as it is for everybody. So it's just about putting yourself out there.
A close friend of mine says that between the work that you have to do and the attitude to get the work done, the attitude is more important, right? And I just love the quote of Jay Williams, which says that a man can alter their altitude of life by altering their attitude of mind. And in everything that you're saying, all I'm hearing is attitude is my attitude, right? So definitely, it's so inspiring, Stephanie. I love what you say, that you were able to brave yourself, brave the obstacles before you, even though some of them resulted in you failing. You still continued, you still put together your attitude and still continued. That is just amazing. And I will assume that it's the same attitude that led you into founding 7 Women. So with no time to waste, Stephanie, please share with us, right? First of all, what is the essence, right? I've read a little bit about your biography, and I read that you were 22 when you went to Nepal. But anyway, what is the essence? How does it happen that a young girl that lives in Australia, right, leaves everything behind, travels to Nepal, and boom, they decide to raise an organization which has trained over 6,000 women, right? Then we're talking about, more than 30,000 households. Only God knows how many of those 6,000 women have gone back and fed out there. So that's major accomplishment. So, I'm burning to know what is the essence of the inspiration, or the action to create 7 Women. And tell me as well, what has that led you? Because I've seen you receive the award, the UN award of responsible business. So please, share with us, what is the essence of that, and where has that led you in life?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting one, because I was reflecting on this recently, because I'm just about to create my next big venture, which has been a vision that's been sitting with me for the last few years, and I've been trying to work out how to come at it, but now it's time. So I was reflecting on that recently, because naturally, or you're thinking how you can set it up, and lots of different beliefs and thoughts come in, and I was reflecting on what enabled me to go ahead just without even thinking and create 7 Women. And I think something even took over confidence. I didn't even think of confidence at that stage, because I was traveling in Nepal, and there's a lot of poverty in a country like Nepal. It's one of the world's poorest countries. I had seen in a back street in Kathmandu, when I was walking, a woman who was struggling with 2 heavy bags. She was physically disabled, and curious, being my curious self, I wanted to know where she was heading. And she turned into a tiny tin shed, and I poked my head around the corner and saw that there were 6 other women in this tin shed. And luckily, one of them spoke broken English. Her name was Sangeeta, and she told me some of the women's stories, and that they'd come from different remote village areas. But what struck me the most, and really, I suppose, urged me to act, ignited that flame in me to think, what can we do about this, and how can I help, was hearing that because these women were physically disabled, that their society had this belief that they were evil in a past life, and it was bad luck to associate with these women. So, at the age of 22, that was just criminal, because that was a lid that was going to, stop these women from blossoming as into their human potential, a lid that was by outside sources that was going to limit their human potential. And I could see in the women's faces. There was one woman called Sandhya who was embarrassed about the way that she looked and hid behind one of the other larger women. And that really got to me, because I believe that everyone's got this incredible potential, that we are supposed to be living into. We're supposed to be following our hearts and following our passions in life and delivering our God-given gifts, into the world. And to see those women discriminated in that way and so young, just at the beginning of their lives, was really heartbreaking. So that, in a situation like that, 7 Women was born. I didn't know it was going to be 7 women in an organisation at that stage. I just, the first step for me was like, what can I do to help? What do these women need? Well, they didn't have their basic needs. They didn't have, people weren't buying they were making candles for the local market. And that's another thing. I thought these women are very enterprising, because they were making these wax candles out of ancient looking candle making holders. They were, stainless steel candle maker holders they were boiling the hot wax over the fire, and they were pouring the wax into these candle makers. And I thought that is very enterprising, because at the time there was 10 hours of electricity cuts in Nepal. So lots of people were buying candles at the time. Anyway, I suppose, reflecting on that, it was like, that for me was beyond, am I confident enough to do this? I wasn't even thinking in those terms at that time. It was just like, how can I help these women to have a proper roof over their head? They were living in a tin shed, and I thought, how can anyone feel good about themselves if they're living in such a dusty, freezing squalor of a place? So that's how 7 Women was born, with $200 that I had at the time, because I was about to leave Nepal and I was still a student at the time. And we paid $200 to pay for 2 trainers to come and train them in skills to make products. And that's how we got the initial money, by selling the products back home in Australia, with great difficulty at the start.
Wow, Steph. That's so amazing, right? So, you're talking about people, right, tapping into their God-given gifts, right? So are you then saying that the educational system does not actually enable us to unleash our God-given gifts? Do you want to talk a little bit on that, about human potential, about God-given gift, because usually there's a lot of confusion between what the educational system, right, is training us to become, and what our actual God-given gift is. So, how do you draw the line between those two?
I think that's a really good question. I don't believe any education is worthwhile if it doesn't draw out the potential in people. I think, I've seen, just even using Nepal as an example, it's rote learning. It's based on the rote learning system, which means that it's read whatever's in the textbook and regurgitate, and to a certain extent, that's been my experience of education as well. If education doesn't draw out the creativity and potential in humans, and to help them become who they're meant to become, and to share that with the world, to share that value, it's criminal. It's very sad, because that's what, we're not meant to be robots. We're not meant to be cogs in the wheel. We're not meant to be on, doing repetitive work. We're supposed to be taking inspired action, that and the visions that come to people and the things that excite them. You get visions throughout life, and the things that excite every cell in your body, ideas, they are meant to be acted on immediately, because they're coming to you for a reason. And different visions come to different people. So I think, the education system does not teach us how to think. It doesn't teach us about our mind. It doesn't teach us about, the quality of our thoughts determine the quality of our life. And, that's been my lived experience. I'm not just saying that as a theory. I'm saying that as someone who knows that to be true through, just even my own life as an example. So I think you know, that potential that exists in every single human, and I've seen it in the thousands of women that we've worked with in Nepal, when that is fostered and when that has the right environment put around it, and when that's drawn out in the right way, in the encouraging way, and when others, you know, when to each other, you know, as humans, when we identify the talents in each other and really draw them out in different ways, that's when we can all reach our human potential, and that's when the world will change. It's not about, and this is, you know, this might be surprising to hear coming from someone who's created a charity, but it's actually not about rich people giving to poor people as we define poor. It's actually about everyone as humans reaching their potential. Okay, yes, you know, people need their basic needs covered to not be suffering. But beyond that, you know, it's about us as humans bringing out the best in each other, you know, and really being that encourager for each other, because, you know, our society is built on a system that to a large extent doesn't work for people. It's not working for people. You know, if it was working for people, we wouldn't see suicides, we wouldn't see mental health issues, we wouldn't see all of these things that we're seeing. We would be thriving, you know, as a human race. We would see very different things happening. We would see people collaborating everywhere. We would see people co-creating brilliance, you know, that benefits everybody. So that is what has become very, very clear to me in seeing 7 Women develop over the years, and seeing hundreds and now thousands of women step into their brilliance, step into their truth and to their talents, you know, and all. It became apparent to me in the very beginning when we were training women to make hand puppets and handicrafts, but it became very apparent to me that not everyone was interested in making handicrafts and hand puppets. So, you know, Sandhya, for example, who was the woman I referred to before, she wasn't really interested in making hand puppets, and she was quite slow in comparison to the other women. So when we asked her, you know, if everything was okay, because she was making, you know, 1 hand puppet when the others were making 12, 13 a day, she said that her hands were actually, you know, it was hurting her because her bones aren't formed properly to make hand puppets. And then it was like, oh my God, not everyone wants to make products, you know. So Sandhya actually had a dream to learn how to read and write herself, and then to teach other women how to read and write. And she actually taught me a lot of things. One of them was, if you don't know how to read and write and count, you get ripped off in the local market. There's no point teaching women, there's no point employing women and paying them a wage if they don't know how to count, because they don't know how to manage money. They get ripped off in the local market, you know, and so on and so forth. So it was like, oh my God, of course. Like, so then we started the literacy classes. Sandhya learned how to read and write, and now she teaches women from the villages that we work in, trains them up as literacy teachers so they can go back into their villages and teach hundreds of women, which, you know, is captured beautifully in our documentary that was made by Kim Ramsey in Sydney. But those literacy classes are giving life to women, not only because it's teaching them how to read and write, I mean, they're just skills that you need in life, but because it brought together these women in the villages that supported each other, you know, that could actually have a voice for the first time ever and share their stories with each other and realize that they're not alone. You know, they're not that they're not as isolated as they think they might be. And, you know, I don't see this unique to Nepal. I see this unique to us as humans, you know, everywhere. It's like we are all one, you know, we all experience the same ups and downs as humans. And the more that we can just be ourselves, you know, and share these things with each other, and just, you know, really own who we are and understand that we're doing life together, you know, and that we are each other's greatest supporters. We can be, and we can bring the best out in each other. I think that's the way, you know, the ultimate difference people can make to each other.
Amazing, 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 Steph. I mean, you said so much. I can literally just take your answer right now and go write 3 books. Amazing. You know, now I understand why. I mean, you've been awarded by UN as a responsible business, because I mean, everything that's coming out of you, it's just a bunch of wisdom and responsibility. I love that. So if you have just tuned in, you must know that we are live on Ignited Transformation TV, a platform inspired by Ignited Transformation Summit, in a conference in which we gather some amazing speakers to share with us their life experiences, as well as techniques in their core area of expertise, which is designed to inspire us to take action. And today we have an amazing keynote speaker, entrepreneur, all the way from Australia, Melbourne, Stephanie Woollard. So Stephanie, I'm curious, right? I'm curious. So now, I mean, you gave a hint earlier on, I know usually when entrepreneurs are working on something new, they don't want to talk about it, but I'm curious, right? So what is next? What are you planning to do next? Well, what is coming up? Is it another 7 women, or is it another, big mission? You've trained so far 6,000. Are you gonna go for 12,000? What's coming next?
Well, I've had this desire for a while to bring people together, connect people that really want to make a difference and that are out there basically living their passions and talents. But I just see that so much is possible when we collaborate, and we join that energy and we join those skills. So I think the way of the future is in creating communities that can collaborate and co-create in that way. And the other reason and the other, so basically, a platform to bring people together across the world who are wanting that, who can see that the world is not working in many ways as it is, and that we need to develop new systems and new ways and new approaches to things, together as people, to bring in the new, the new earth, the new world that we want to see, that will have each other reaching their human potential and thriving. So part of that is, there's many people, I will just plug the charger into my laptop so it doesn't die.
Okay, great.
There's many people that have ideas, and have passions and have had dreams that they're just sitting on because they might not necessarily know how to start, or they do know how to start, but it's just like, do I have the confidence, or do I have the ability, or thinking like, it's great to have a big vision, but then to scale it back into steps, well, what is the first step? How can I scale it back and do a little pilot? So the idea of bringing people together in this way is to have almost a net, or almost kind of like to hold their hand across the tightrope as they venture out into this new territory where they're wanting to create and they're wanting to step into their, their dreams or their visions. So that is what it will be, and there's a lot of different moving parts to it, but just a community that people can be part of, that and surround themselves with incredible people that are out there making a difference to the world, and doing that through living into their unique talents and gifts. So a few different programs that I've got in mind for that can really help lead people through that journey together, and then just facilitating that connection and co-creation, and building around them everything they might need in terms of even support, business support, that makes it easier for them just to do what they're really good at, and have the rest taken care of.
Mm-hmm. And is that going to be like a digital platform, or is it going to be again a physical organization like 7 women? What shape is it going to take? Or you haven't thought of that as
because it's global. I've got, and the idea also came to me because we've had thousands of people come to our centre in Nepal as travellers, that are wanting to make a difference and an impact as travellers. So they've come to do our cooking classes, which we have as part of our cooking school, and they are all people that really want to make a difference in the world. So they've gone to Nepal as, most people go to Nepal to trek Mount Everest. So they've gone as trekkers, or they've gone on an adventure tour, or just a sightseeing tour, and they've actively looked up how they can contribute, in that community while they're traveling. So so I've been connected with a lot of people through that, through 7 women that are wanting to make a difference, and the idea came to me from that. But also, in my travels and speaking at a lot of conferences all around the world to all different ages, but young people want to make a difference. And I think the only thing that gets in the way of them doing it or not doing it is how, and having the right environment around them that supports them to do that, which is quite easy to do, but at the same time, it's not easy to put the right people around yourself to really allow you to thrive. I believe that it comes from within, but it really helps if you have the right environment to support that, once you launch into that.
Interesting. Well, you spoke just now about you traveling around the world and speaking. So what do you usually speak about?
It depends on the conference, and it depends on the audience and the age group. But my bigger vision and belief, I suppose, is that everyone has this incredible life force and energy inside of them. And as we go through life, which, this is kind of common knowledge to a lot of people, but as we go through life, stuff, gets put on us, that, beliefs or things that happen to us, and we kind of minimize our greatness in a way. I mean, some people don't, but it's just, the journey of life. You go through challenges, and so I think now more than ever is about just uncovering that greatness and coming back to who we really are. I think I see in a lot of places that I've traveled, and a lot of the conversations that I have, and a lot of people that I meet, that they've actually veered off their path. They've lost the power, they've lost the understanding of who we really are as humans. I mean, we can set our mind to anything and achieve anything that we want to achieve. That is 100% what I believe, because I've seen it happen. So it's understanding the mind and how the mind works. It's controlling, it's using thoughts as a tool for, to support ourselves, to form the philosophy that we want to have, to have a vision, a really clear vision of what we want to achieve in life and what we're here for. What is life about? And that's they're questions that I had for a long time, until I did an incredibly life-changing seminar that I'd love to share about as well, because it's a phenomenal experience for anyone to have. But yeah, it's I'm so passionate about what I'm talking about. I've forgotten your question. What do I talk about at conferences? Yeah, different things. So just basically the incredible human spirit, that is in all of us, that allows us to make a difference. But we need to understand who we really are first. And for me, that was I always wanted to stay very close to my passion and purpose, and I relentlessly followed that as my journey. I relentlessly followed my heart, followed what inspired me, followed what lit me up, and I kept on that path, rather than selling out, on myself. And I did go through periods of time where I thought maybe it would be a good idea to get a corporate job, because I thought maybe there's stuff that I don't, maybe there's things that I don't know, because I've always done my own thing. I thought maybe that there's skills or something that I've missed out on because I've never had like a corporate job. But I really didn't know what I was talking about because I'd never had one, So then I ended up asking 4 different businesses if I could shadow their executives for a week at a time, just to understand more about what consulting is. So I had that experience, and I realized that it's about following what brings us our greatest joy, doing what excites us. And the thing is, I understand a lot of people might be thinking, but not everyone can do that because you've got to look after your salary and your whatever. But I actually believe that there's something very magical that comes into play when people take that leap. And it's life, it's God, it's life steps in to support you. I remember my grandma always said to me that, if you're a good, honest person, you will get help from somewhere. If you've got a clear vision and you follow that vision, then you'll get help from somewhere. And I'm telling you from my own personal experience, I have had help from places you would never even imagine, you know, on my journey. And I wasn't on a salary for 7 Women. I did odd jobs, you know, for years. And then I started my tour company. But it's just, I think when you step outside of your comfort zone and you stick to what you're passionate about, and you have, your goal includes making a greater difference to people, it's for the greater good, you will get support from places you have not even considered.
Amazing. You know, I just want to ask you this, Stephanie, because I hear you, you know, keep mentioning God. I obviously don't want to bring, you know, any religious talk into this, but I'm very curious, as in, you know, what is your spiritual aspiration, you know, as you keep talking about God? I mean, because I mean, there's also a very you know, prominent and should I say 21st century belief where we talk about, you know, just believe and apply your mind and the universe will respond, right? So for you, is it the same when we talk about the universe laws, and as well as, you know, we talk about God? Do you know, function in those realms?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. You know, I think I'll answer that question with my experience, which has been, you know, I was always a truth seeker, and you know, I've had a very sharp sense of truth and what's not true. So I was on that path, relentlessly looking for, why are we here? What is this all about? And I couldn't find it anywhere. I even went to Sweden and I studied a master's for 2 years to understand, you know, it was called Peace and Conflict Research, my master's, to understand politics, because I thought maybe I will understand it in understanding politics more, and how the world works, how decisions get made, why the world is the way it is, why is there so much suffering. I studied my master's for 2 years. I came back very disillusioned. I still couldn't find truth. You know, I was like, why is it so hard to just get a clear answer of what is actually happening? And I think everyone, whether they admit to it or not, you know, none of us have the answers. None of us do. So I was a few things in my life happened, you know, as it does in everyone's life. My grandma passed away, and she was very, very close to me. So I was in grief for a period of time, and I was asking those questions even more, you know, and so I was still flying around speaking at different conferences and things, you know, about the 7 Women model. And I met an incredible woman at a conference in Canada, Edmonton, actually. And she was speaking about the oil. She discovered, she was a geologist by background, Susan Morris. She discovered oil in Belize. And she described that as God led her to the oil, because there had been companies, you know, all the big oil companies for 50 years drilling for oil in Belize, which is in the Caribbean. And she met a local Belizean who said, you know, that he had a dream that he would find oil, but it, you know, had to be drilled up with the right person, and that it would benefit the country and the communities. So so she found oil, and I was pretty blown away by this story, but I was more blown away by her incredible energy and her presence, you know, on stage. And I just thought, oh my goodness, that's the type of energy that I have, you know, in life, and that I had in 7 Women. But because I was kind of in a bit of grief because my granny had passed away, it knocked me a little bit, and I'd lost my flow. So anyway, I'm getting to answer your question, but I ended up, she mentioned that she'd done a seminar in the Bahamas, which was a 10-day seminar about basically picking you up and putting you back into your flow, reconnecting you with, aligning you back with that incredible life force, you know, that we all have, and that energy. So it's about, you know, it steps you through clearing the mind and becoming present, because, you know, our minds, we think our minds and all of our thinking is our reality, but it's not. It's just the crap that's going on in our mind that distracts us from the present moment, which is what is real, right? Mm-hmm. So it's in those present moments that, that you get these messages and you get these signs and you get these visions of your soul mission, of what we're here for on earth. So all of that thinking, which, you know, most of us don't even monitor what our thinking is, but it creates our reality. You know, I really believe that. So anyway, the 10-day seminar was totally life-changing for me. And every single person that did that seminar, it exposed us to just what life is about and what is out there and what is available for us to tap into. So it was about, you know, freeing up the energy and that sort of thing by clearing the mind and understanding how it all works. So all my questions that I had been, you know, restlessly searching for were answered. And I had this incredible inner calm that didn't leave me after the seminar. In fact, it's got stronger and stronger. And I can only explain it by sharing that like that is what I call God. You know, that is what I call lining up with the incredible forces in life that is there for us. And I think, you know, after the I've always tried to understand the Bible because it interests me as a book, right? And it's got this phenomenal history, and I always kind of was curious about it. And I have tried to read it at different stages of my life. You know, when I went to church every day when I was in primary school, Catholic primary school, didn't understand a thing that the priest was saying. So that kind of turned me off it a little bit. And the priest himself turned me off it a lot. And then in high school, you know, we'd go to church every now and again, Anglican high school. So that was interesting, but I didn't really get it. Then when I was at late teens, I went to church with a few of my friends because they were into it. And I then tried to understand it, but it didn't feel accessible to me. And again, like a lot of people have had these experiences of, you know, religion has different stigma and different kind of, you know, programs and things that have been put onto that. So I just recently had, you know, my friend actually gave me a copy. My friend is a pastor. He's from West Papua, Ricky. He's an amazing guy, and he's really like a beacon of light. And I've seen him throughout his life transform, you know, with what he is doing now, which, you know, he's a pastor. So he gave me a Bible, and I started to read it again, curious to really understand it this time. And it was unbelievable. Like just it's like a magical book, you know, that lays out all the rules of life, you know, how we are supposed to live as humans. Everything's in the Bible for us to guide us, you know, in life. And yeah, it's just, and I when I was reading, I thought, I can't believe I haven't discovered this earlier. Like this is incredible. So that you know, I don't feel like I'm in a position to answer, you know, what is God, but I do think, you know, God is that direct connection that we have with God, and the way that we get to know more about that is through, you know, not necessarily being religious. You know, I think that has different things that come with it, but just reading the text, you know, because there's incredible energy in the words in the text of the Bible. So, you know, I would advise anyone to, you know, even if you've tried a few times like I had, and then just kind of thought it's too hard, have another look at it, because it's amazing, and it's amazing at different times in your life when it can really kind of jump out at you from the text. So and Stephen, I've asked a lot of questions to you, you know, about the Bible, because there are parts that I don't understand, and I know, you know, I know that you have a really deep understanding of the Bible, so I'm really grateful for you kind of helping me to understand some of the deep historical context of the Bible. But, you know, the New Testament has been super interesting. My friend who's a pastor just recommended that I read, I think it was Matthew first. And yeah, it's just the story of Jesus, you know, who is Jesus, what did he do here, and who he was as a person on earth. And So yeah, that's how I would answer that question in a very long-winded way. But I would really recommend, you know, because after I did this seminar in the Bahamas, it was as if I had a much deeper understanding of what's out there, you know, what life's about. So when I picked up the Bible after that, it just really made sense to me, and there was a certain energy about it, and it's just magical. And I'm happy to answer any other questions people have about that, because I've been on the journey myself where it didn't make sense. And I know that there's a lot of stigma attached to religion, which is such a shame, because you know, the way that I've delved into it now recently has been completely different to that, you know, and it's about the direct connection. And Stephen, you've helped me a lot with that, so thanks.
You're welcome. Well, anyway, I mean, talking about that, you know, I've learned that transformation is defined as the change of one's outer form from which it was to another, which is the result of an inner change which is nothing more than the mind. And I mean, you talking about the Bible reminds me of one of the verses which says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind," right? And I guess that's what ignited transformation is about. We want people to renew their mind by stimulating their sense of inspiration, which will then transcend into an aspiration, which will then be a decision to take action, right? So, Stephanie, we are getting towards the end, right? So I just want to ask from you. So if any young woman at the age of 18 or 16 or 12 or 22 or 25 is watching this right now, and she's also had this burning desire, you know, it may not be to travel the world or travel all the way from this location to the next and go cause an immediate change, but, you know, she just wants to at least, you know, make a little difference in her life, you know. So what would you say then are your three most important values, or the three most important lessons that you have learned in life that can be, you know, transferred to that person that's watching you right now, and that person can also stand up, you know, wear that cape of lion that you have, you know, I see, and be able to go out there, you know, and conquer their mountains and do what they think is best for them? Three
things. Okay.
Yeah.
I better keep this answer short. The last one was very long. So I would just say, you know, back yourself. You've got that vision for a reason. You're excited about that thing for a reason. So follow your heart, follow your passion at all costs, you know, because that you're being guided. You know, that's your guidance. That's your true north in life. And that will bring you fulfillment, and that will lead you on your journey, on your path. The second one would be to understand the mind, you know, and use your mind in a way that benefits you in life. You know, monitor your thinking and make sure that your thinking is positive as much as possible. You know, we're human, so the mind wanders, but you know, have that discipline to make sure that you're thinking positive things. And the other one would probably be, you know, I used to think making a difference was about helping others to do things, which, you know, that does make a difference. But the greatest difference we can make as humans is to you know, make sure that our own energy levels and life force is clear. Make sure that we are on purpose ourselves, because when we understand who we really are and are able to tap into that energy and have that faith in ourselves, and you know, that's when we can make a difference to many, many more than just, you know, giving food to a few people, or, you know, and I see that with 7 Women. You know, we've been able to educate, train and employ over 6,000 women now, and yes, that's fantastic, and that's having a ripple effect in Nepal. But actually by me being true to myself and being just myself, you know, and embracing that is going to make a difference to many, many more people through speaking engagements, through being the change. You know, I think it was Gandhi who said, be the change you want to see in the world. So when you tap into something that is greater than yourself, example, God, that, you know, that is a whole nother, that's what life is about, you know, living your purpose and tapping into that incredible life force inside that brings you all of that, you know. And that, so my third point would be probably make sure your vision is greater than yourself, because when it is greater than yourself, you know, you get that extraness that comes in to help you achieve that goal.
Amazing, amazing, Stephanie. So first is follow your heart, follow your passion, your heart, right? And secondly, understanding your mind. And thirdly, have a vision that is greater than yourself. Amazing, Stephanie. I love it. I love it. So on those notes, lovely people, please do follow your heart and have a deep understanding. Apply yourself to understand your mind. How do you think? You know, what ignites a desire to take action in you, and definitely have a big vision that is greater than yourself. And with those three keys, you'll be able to ignite the transformation in your life. And there we have it from Stephanie Woollard, all the way from Melbourne. I just want to again, remind you that Stephanie is an international keynote speaker, an author, a social entrepreneur, a UN award winner for responsible business, and she's the founder of 7 Women and the president of JCI Melbourne board. Oh, I just love it. So much accomplishment. Well, the person interviewing is Stephen Dossou, all the way from Togo, TOGO, interviewing from Avalon Co-working Space right here in Bali, Ubud, and a place where we believe in co-creation, co-working, but mostly people that come together to unleash their potential. I'm the creator of Ignited Transformation, of which Stephanie and I are putting together an amazing Ignited Transformation conference in collaboration with JCI Junior Chamber International, which is coming up very soon. So I will ask of you to be tuned to get the news of it. So thank you very much. If you are able to watch from the beginning to the end, I'm gonna leave the end to our lovely guests to actually close and, you know, give us the closing amazing, beautiful words. But I thank you so much for watching. My name is Stephen Dossou again, and thank you for being awesome, being amazing, and keep us posted. Go to www.ignitedtransformation.site/TV if you want to be interviewed or refer someone epic that can ignite the transformation in the life of others. Stephanie, please give us your lovely closing words so that we can say goodbye to these amazing people.
I'd just like to say thank you to you, Stephen, because you're, you know, every now and again you come across people in life that are amazing energy wise. You know, you can, the words that you speak are one thing, the actions you take are another thing, but you can really, I think everyone can pick up on people's energy when they meet different people, and you're one of those incredible people that have amazing energy that just gives out to people, and people really notice that. So thank you so much for doing what you do and sharing that incredible energy, you know, to everyone that you meet in everything that you do. It's awesome, and that, you know, I know that makes a massive difference.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you. All right, there you go, lovely people. She closes it, you know, by giving me a tap on the back, which I take it, right? What can I do? Thank you so much, Stephanie. For being a guest again, the first guest ever on Ignited Transformation TV, a place where we inspire, aspire, and take massive actions. So thank you so much, Stephanie. On this note, we will close. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. See you next week, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Singaporean time. Be tuned, be hooked, and be transformed. Bye-bye.